After an off week, we're back. And why am I wearing a Dodgers hat? It's actually a tribute to somebody. We get into that right away.
Then Formula One is back as well after a month off. Some craziness at Talladega, and it's May. We know what that means.
We certainly do. And we discussed some iRacing again, ups and downs of running a league, and we had some downs last week. We'll get into that and more right now. Did you miss us? This is an
We're
all
back.
new FR6. Yeah, well, this is an all new FR6 Garage Talk. I'm DJ Fluck.
I'm Eric Richardson.
We missed last week because, to be honest with you, last week might have been probably the worst week I've had in a while. You could tell there was something off with me last week.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I
easy to
it,
say.
it yeah, it's just it was a try to keep this as brief as I can. Long story short, it was just a bad family week. Just a lot of bad news just getting thrown in all in like a 72-hour period. And probably Saturday, I was probably the closest to a mental breakdown I've ever been. But not a shrink show, not me airing my personal issues. So we're gonna start today a little bit different. You might be wondering why I'm wearing a Los Angeles Dodgers hat.
You're a
Am I
Cubs
giving
fan.
Am I giving up on the Cubs? No, I'm not. They split with it. They split with the Dodgers, I think, or maybe I don't know. They at least took one. So about a week ago, a little over a week ago, a radio legend who we've referenced on this show multiple times over the years, Bob Kevoian, the Bob and Tom Show, passed away after a 3-ish plus year battle with stomach cancer. And he went public with it in 2023. He was the host of the Bob and Tom Show, big part of our youth growing up, and a big
Yeah,
reason, kind of why we do what we do. A lot of what they did and their antics were really an inspiration and just brought a lot of joy to not only people in Indiana, but they were syndicated nationwide from the mid 90s onward. I don't know how their syndication is now, but they had a television show. Yeah, they were pretty widely known in the world of radio. Bob and Tom ended up in the Radio Hall of Fame, and Bob announced during his speech to the Radio Hall of Fame announced his retirement and walked away. And in 2023, he announced he had cancer and had his good days, had his bad days. And I guess the other week he was planning on going to Disney World with his wife for the weekend and just took a turn for the worst and passed away the next day. And
did you see
just
that he was pretty much listening to his favorite album?
the Beatles, was it Abbey Road, I think?
I think so. And then like
Yeah.
last song plays, and that was about
So
it.
the song wrapped up and took his last breath. So Bob, you always saw him with the Dodgers hat on. And that is why I'm wearing the Dodgers hat, because honestly, that's the reason why I have a Dodgers hat, is because of Bob Kevoian. I've only worn this a handful of times. Sometimes I'll wear it like when I go in the pool in the backyard. But I went to Dodger Stadium several years ago, and I bought a Dodgers hat because of Bob Kevoian. He meant that much growing up.
Yeah, I mean, growing up listening to Q95, and then pretty much no matter where I've been, always finding Bob and Tom on in the morning, and then being there, Bob and Tom at the races. I
Yes, they're
listen to
big
them on
with
the way
Indy
to a
500.
500 every time.
They did an Indy 500 special. All the stories that it's like you already knew. Is that water?
Yeah, it's actually a gallon of
Vodka?
vodka.
I was about
I
to say, is
needed
that
after listening.
vodka?
It is water.
so, so I have to ask you, because Bob and Tom, a lot of this stuff was kind of risque, kind of pushing the limit. Not
Kind
like
of.
it was. no, compared to Howard Stern, like
Compared to
Howard Stern.
that, yes.
Yes, Howard Stern was an FCC menace in his FM heydays. At his peak. Bob and Tom, they pushed the limit, but they didn't push the FCC limit usually.
They were very good on alliteration.
Yes, absolutely. They were phenomenal at that. As a kid growing up in Indiana, my parents were always very like, no, we're not, no. Like my dad would put them on sometimes. They put like the best of Bob and Tom on the weekend, or they'd have a special, and we'd be driving to one of our travel soccer games and listening to the best of Bob and Tom, and my mom was like, no, absolutely, we are not listening to this garbage.
I could listen to bits and pieces of it that were pre-approved.
And the thing though with Bob though, I never met them, but I interacted with Bob numerous times on the old Twitter site, and just the nicest guy. Just he would have conversation. People would ask him questions. He'd respond to people. He was just such a nice guy, and you hear all these stories about just all the nice things he did for people and the charity, all the charity work he did over the years, and it's a real shame that he's gone.
Yeah, when I saw that pop up, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, you sent it to me. I didn't even know. You were the one who sent me the
story.
I'm
like, man, I don't want to send this.
Yeah, you sent me that, and I kind of paused.
It's one of those, you see it, and it's like, am I reading this right? There's no way.
Bob's gone. Did you ever own any of their albums?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do. I got plenty. The Christmas specials are some of my favorite ones.
Do you remember the O.J. Simpson Christmas bit they did?
Yeah.
You almost lost it when I almost had a spit take there. The O.J. Simpson Christmas special, that was funny. I remember around, I don't know, this is probably around 1999 or so, maybe 2000. I got a Bob and Tom album from my parents for Christmas, and that was kind of it was the You Guys Rock album. And had the Paging Richard Smoker was like one of the first songs on the album.
Yes, so many good things.
The Paging Richard Smoker is about a bartender who gets prank called all the time, and they're all like innuendo jokes, and it's like, his name is Richard, but they call him Big Dick, and he's like, hey, I'm looking for a Big Dick Smoker.
A couple of my favorite ones that they've done, Mr. Obvious is always great.
Oh yeah.
And then one of my other favorite sketches, I always laugh every time I hear it, is their commercial for Dickens cider. Now, say that as kind of one word without spacing, and yeah, just listen to it, look it up. It's on YouTube. It's hilarious.
They also, they had the Harry Carey, the bits. They were called After Hour Sports, and then after Harry died, they changed it to Afterlife Sports.
Those are so good.
Oh, and then they just so much innuendo that went way over my head as a young kid, and then you're looking back on it.
You listen to it now, and you're like, oh, I get it. I mean, we were, 8, 9, 10, trying to listen to Bob and Tom, and we're like, no, you can't listen to that.
Yeah. But yeah, just songs and just comedy bits, and so many comedians that was kind of their big break, is they got invited on Bob and Tom and gave them that national audience. And
like the who's who of comedians has been on Bob and Tom.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know who one of my favorite guests on Bob and Tom was? Pat McAfee. He was on all the time.
Did you see his tribute to Bob he posted?
I missed it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's so good. It is so like I know a lot of people don't care for Pat and his antics and his WWE persona and everything, but his tribute to Bob, like he's almost like crying midway through it. It just like you could see just how much Bob meant to him.
You know,
And
that show like got Pat McAfee going to where he's at now.
yeah, yeah, he said that right then. He said that
Because he was
Bob
kind of
told
on the
him,
show
"Do
as he was still kicking.
yeah." He's like, do stand up because he goes, I think you'd be really good at stand up. You know, be on the radio, and you know he's built an entire career because of Bob.
Yeah.
The the other one, um, Frank Caliendo, the guy, the impressionist, he talked about how Bob was just so good at like kind of giving energy to the comedians, and they said that like sometimes a comedian would go on Bob and Tom, and he goes, if Bob didn't laugh, like you should just quit. If you didn't make Bob laugh, you're done. Like you're never gonna make, make it
If
as
it's
a
not going
comedian.
right, he goes, "Is that right?"
Is that right?
You're like, "Okay, dang it."
And then after he said that, they cut to a clip, and Bob's like, "Oh, is that right?" But he'd do this thing where you're like, "Uh huh, uh huh," and I'm like, "Yeah, I vividly recall those." He kind of feeding the comedian like, "Come on, keep going, let's go. You're doing it. Keep going." You know, it was just he just had this way. It was so good. Man.
Bob and Tom show, just if you're not familiar with it, just go back and listen to some episodes.
One of my all time favorite jokes on the You Guys Rock album. There's a comedian named Dwight York. Just has a very distinctive sound to him, and he just does these like silly one-liners. But he told two of the funniest jokes I think I've ever laughed at in my life. And the first one was he goes, I was traveling and the airport lost my luggage. Thank God they have those dope dogs. And he's like, yep, found it right away. But his other joke was, he goes, being a comedian's tough because for a while I was homeless and I was so ashamed I didn't want anybody to know, so I slept in front of a Ticketmaster. Like that joke in 2026 doesn't make any sense at all. But that joke, hearing that in 1999 is like the funniest joke you've ever heard, ever, because it's just like, oh yeah, you'd wait out in front of the Ticketmaster for your concert tickets to go on sale, and people would camp out on the sidewalk.
Yep.
Slept in front of a Ticketmaster.
Oh, how times have changed.
Yeah. We just aged ourselves. Or I aged myself. Hey, we have a double Miami shirt tonight.
Yes, we
A
do.
little
I
not
got
not
triple
planned.
Miami's on mine.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got to. Wasn't planned. This was
No,
just sitting on. This was just sitting in the top of my drawer and grabbed it this morning.
that it's Miami weekend.
Formula One is back finally.
It's been long enough.
Kind of forgot the season was going on. They've made some changes. I'm not confident this will fix problems, but we shall see.
Probably not. Yeah, it'd be fun to see. Got a sprint race this weekend too.
Yeah. Max's favorite weekend, sprint weekends.
They're my favorite.
It's funny too when you have the races in the U.S. or in Asia, and they air at like 1 a.m. UK time, and the people in the UK are throwing a fit because they have to stay up till 1 a.m. Or get up at 1 a.m. to watch the race. It's like, boo hoo hoo! Our
That's what
turn.
we're doing. We're waking up at 4 to watch them. Or staying up till
Someday,
3 a.m. to watch the start.
yeah, some days it's starting at 5 a.m. Pacific time, and
It's not as
it is
bad
what it
here on
is.
the East Coast, but
No, but it gets bad when it's like Australia or Japan. Those
yeah,
are
those
some
are
late.
awful for me.
Those are late nights for you. Those aren't so bad for me. It's like, oh, 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
Vegas
those
was
are good
kind of
fun.
bad for you until they moved the start time a little earlier. But the Miami Autodrome.
I'm not going to give anything away, but pay attention to social media on Friday. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm not even sure what you're talking about.
Check Wildcat Racing, and maybe something gets tied over to FR Racing Online on Friday. So watch Instagram.
Well, this episode airs on Friday, so today.
Yeah, check. Yeah, probably this afternoon. Keep your eyes open.
I think I know what you're talking about. I mean, you announced a project last week.
Oh yeah, it's not that.
No, but you need to hype your
Yeah,
project.
yeah, I did announce a project. Put out there looking for just responses right now. Um, project I'm working on is trying to look at the Indy 500 from a fan perspective. There's books out there about the history and the background of Indy and how it came about and the drivers, and but Indy is not Indy without the fans. So I want to put fans' stories out there. Like, why do 400,000 people show up every May for a race to watch cars go in circles? So if
And
you've
over the
been,
years,
or even if you haven't been to a race but you watch it every year, um, fill out the form. Go to Wildcat Racing on Instagram. The link
well, we got
to it
the
is
we got
there.
the link in this episode description.
All
I'll
right, we'll
put
get
that
it
in
here
there.
too.
Yeah, just
But
go click the link. Fill out your survey. Hey, it might end up in the book.
yeah, if you got a great story, I'd like to include it. Even a small story, filtering those little things, because it's not just all big crazy stories like, wow, that's how did that happen? It's the little things too.
I So did you change? Because I filled it out a while ago. Do I need to refill it out, or do you still have
I've
my?
never seen yours.
Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm just imagining
I
that I
don't
filled
think
it out.
you've submitted it.
I told see the agreement. Well, actually, I don't know if it's actually an agreement, but I said that if you get some big shot with a name to write the forward to your book, by all means, that's your forward. But if you don't, I have dibs on the forward.
Yep, DJ has the forward unless I get like an Indy 500 champion to write it,
Yeah,
or like a
some it has
Doug
to be a
Boles,
big shot. It
somebody
has
like
to
it.
be it has to be a big shot. Well, the definition of big shot. But I mean, worst case scenario, you get the big shots right the forward. I'll still have my section in the book because,
Maybe I can have you
uh,
like write the prologue or something.
well, the '97 race, the rain race, the 3-day rain race, like I experienced that. That's like one of my all-time favorite stories. I love telling. That's going to be my contribution to your book once I
Oh
finally
yeah,
get around to filling the survey out.
and it was
So
funny. A few years later, my parents were even like, "We should have taken you to that race." I was like,
I called in
It's
sick to
okay."
school. I still vividly remember the day when my mom called in sick to school, so they wouldn't think that like if my dad called thinking it was me trying to pose as my dad. So my mom called me in sick to school on the Tuesday, and the attendance officer goes, "Well, tell them to have fun at the race."
Yeah,
They
I
knew,
know a lot of people that went to it.
and as soon as I remember, as soon as I got back. As soon as I got back the next day, I was walking down the hall, and my or it was sixth grade. Our science teacher, who was my homeroom teacher, I come walking into the classroom. He's standing outside the door, and he stops me, and he's like, "How was the race?" And I'm just kind
What
of
are you talking
like,
about?
I don't know what you're talking about. I had the flu. He's like, "Oh, bull," or he didn't say that, but he just kind of like, "No, really, like, I don't care. Like, how was it?" And I told him, I said, "Hey, it was awesome. Like, let's just say you would never be able to pull off an event like that ever again in a post 9/11 world where there's literally no security at this entire
No,
facility. There was none whatsoever. They just like they didn't even check tickets. Like they're just like, come on in."
yeah, you got to imagine that it's nowhere close to 400,000 people that are going to be showing up.
We were in the Northwest Vista. There's nobody in our section. Like, it was empty. Like, I honestly, like, I would be shocked if there was 50,000 people there that day.
Yeah, it's so hard when you get rained out on Sunday, washed out on Monday, run on Tuesday.
I mean, you don't even pull the covers off the car Sunday. I remember walking back to the car completely drenched after not seeing
Monday they got like 15 laps
15,
in.
they got 15. They got 15 laps in, and then the whole row 5. I think it was row 5, and Kenny Breck was a rookie that year. That whole row 5 wrecked out. What was also special that year is we had our field trip. Our 6th grade field trip was to the 500 at the beginning of May, so we saw like test runs. And
Schechter was doing his rookie orientation too.
I saw Kenny Breck doing his rookie orientation.
There were a couple cars out that day.
Was Schechter that far back? He wasn't in the late 90s, was he? I remember Kenny Breck just because Breck? Of. Yeah, well, that's who I remember.
There's another one. Schechter.
There were a couple of cars that were on track that day, and Breck was one of them. The other thing that stands out about the 97 race is just how awful those cars sounded. Like, go pull the 97 500 and just listen to just the sound of the cars as they go back. And it just sounds like they're about to break down as they're driving by you.
Another fun thing about that day, I got to meet Chuck Lofton and now the voice of the Speedway, Dave Calabro.
Dave Calabro, voice of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Still not Carnegie going. It's a new track record.
There's actually a T-shirt they sell that says it's a new track record. You can buy that, actually.
Just hearing that over the PA system, like, there's nothing like it.
Oh, we're there. They're doing test runs. I was just
open it up. Jack Harvey caught fire.
I forgot he's gonna run the race, isn't he?
Yeah, his car caught fire today going on turn 4. Oops. Pulled it in and it lit up. It was smoking really bad.
Castro Neves was like P2 yesterday. The old man still got it. Could you imagine?
Like gonna have 33.
Well, yeah, Catherine Legg announced rounding out the field. There was rumor.
AJ Foyt and HMD.
HMD, yep. Malukas' parents.
Another big Indy announcement with the charters.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
You're trying to grow the sport, and like, no, we're gonna limit you.
Yeah, just IndyCar just does so much, and the thing is, like, it seems like this was a Honda Chevy driven move.
It's got to be. I can't imagine IndyCar doing this. Even like last year, Primo wouldn't be able to run, except for the 500.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But we're coming into the month of May. I'll have to put my Indy flag out, my garden flag.
And you see the hashtag, is it May yet? It's time. We're here.
Got my welcome race fans. Yep, it is May. Actually, when this airs, it's May 1st. So we are in May officially by the time this airs. The most annoying month of the year for my wife.
One of my favorite months.
The TV that's right over. Well, this year, I don't know how this is going to work. Because last year she was doing contract work, and now in the fall she got a full-time job, so she sits on the other side of this. Like, she made me put up a soundproof wall because I'm so freaking loud. And so we have these like soundproof barrier here that it's like these like panels that we actually have, like, we've made our own like makeshift cubicles in here because I'm so loud. And I'll get on the phone and I'll actually I'll walk out of the room and I'll go into one of my kids' rooms and take a call, like across the hall. And I forgot the one day they were off for spring break, and I was taking a call in one of my kids' rooms, and my kid's like, "What are you doing in here? Get out!" I'm like, "Oh, yeah,
Oh yeah, you're at home.
yeah." Summer's coming soon.
Yes, it is.
My kid's last day of school is the Thursday before Memorial Day, and they get a half day to end the year.
It's not bad.
So, yeah, I'll take Friday off from work. I'll have Monday off for Memorial Day. Hopefully the 500 doesn't get rained out. Hopefully Scotty Mack doesn't wreck on the pace lap. And
That was so wild. Like seeing that you're watching the cars and you're looking, that car stopped. Then you look at the replay, like, oh.
The funniest part, like last night with our race at St. Petersburg, we actually had 2 wrecks on the pace lap.
Yeah, Code Brown on the pace lap. I'm not used to that.
Eric Mattingly hit the wall at St. Pete and broke his front wing on the pace lap. And I said, "Oh man!" And I said, "If only I could give you a thumbs up out the top of my car, I know I would." But then after lap 1, I drove over one of the curbs, and it just went right into the wall. I'm like, "All right, we're done for the night."
Yeah, I locked up and bumped my front nose, and like, you have nose damage, or like you're missing your front wing. So I'm driving along. Then I do pit for tires, and I look like I still have my fast repair. You told me I have damage, so I've been driving cautiously, just trying to turn some laps. And like I could have been pushing it.
So I meatballed and I limped myself back to the pit. And I get back to the pit, and all of a sudden I hear, "Dad, the toilet's overflowing!"
Yeah, Brandon, go check that out.
And I'm in the pits, and I'm just like, well, like, this wasn't going to go anywhere anyway tonight, especially after this shenanigans. And so I get up, I walk over. Bathroom is right on the other side of this wall right here. And I walk in, I just see the water in the toilet. I'm like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "I think I used too much toilet paper." I'm like, "All right, fine." Like, shut the water off, grab the plunger. And so this race is going on. I'm sitting there with the plunger, trying to prevent a homeowner's insurance claim. And
yeah, I don't think you missed much.
No, I didn't miss much.
It's probably more exciting than the plunger.
We kind of whiffed on the broadcast this week. Like, nobody really tuned in. I was disappointed. I thought more people would be interested into that, but
it's not already happened.
It's not getting the reach that I thought it would, which, fine. I mean, people are watching it, but I mean, we got Indy coming up.
Oh,
that always gets
Indy's in 2 weeks.
That always gets massive views.
I'm sure we're going to have a good field on that. We always do. Then the week after, we get to finish at Michigan.
Although, for Wednesday Night Dash this week, 26 cars break the record for most cars starting in the league. And it's at the freaking St. Pete.
I think we'll have it again next race.
You know what? That's fine. Like, we've been pushing to try to get the numbers up to 25 to 30. We got a couple part-timers who haven't even raced yet this season. And you know what? It's going to be good. Let's address the elephant in the room. We haven't got to Talladega yet, and we're already at 28 minutes, so we better double time here. So Atlanta was...
Yeah, Atlanta happened.
Let's just say this is the first. So we implemented a 13x incident count drive-through penalty for oval racing, and the purpose behind was, there were some people that had some aggressive tendencies and had numerous racing incidents pushing their way to the front, and there was no. One, it was racing incidents, which were like, well, racing incidents, fine. But you'd see like 25, 26x incident counts in iRacing, and it's just like we gotta curb that a little bit.
That.
Yeah, like we can't have people just literally plowing their way to the front. And so last season we implemented what we called the 13-26 rule, where at 13x you would get a drive-through penalty, 26x was a disqualification, 18x on short tracks, super speedways, and road courses. And outside of the North Wilkesboro fiasco, it worked really well. I think it worked very well last season.
I got hosed on, and this will probably lead into it.
Yeah.
Last lap incidents that put you over the count.
Yes.
Have burned me multiple times.
And that leads to the problem.
Into me.
So with iRacing, if you get a black flag, whether it's a meatball, a passing under yellow, speeding penalty on the pits, the warning, the drive-through penalty for the 13x on the last lap or within the last 3 laps, and you don't serve that, you get a 1 lap and 5-second penalty auto-applied to you post-race. And that happened at Atlanta to 2 drivers who were on the podium. It happened to I think 8 drivers.
7 at least.
6, 7? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. My damn kids. Yes, we had 7 or 6 drivers have a post-race penalty last week for hitting the 13x, and it caused a bit of a firestorm in the Discord when, and the thing is, like, how did you come up with 13x? I'm like, okay. So what I did was I went back and I looked at a lot of data and looked at the incident counts for the races, especially short tracks and super speedways. And I kind of averaged out some numbers over the years. Granted, the fields were obviously smaller. And I said, I think we need a starting point. It is kind of arbitrary, yes. But let's look at the 10 percentile. And it was like 12.86 incident points or something like that. So I said, okay, we'll round that to 13. We'll double it for 26. There you go. There's your 13.26. And we bumped it to 18 just to give you that, hey, here's the 1x for the, for the bump during the draft at Talladega. Off tracks on road courses. We'll give you a little bit of extra fudge factor there, extra 5 points before you get that. And I don't think anybody had a penalty tonight, actually.
I don't think so. The penalty counts were pretty low.
A lot of people scraped the wall, but it was 0x wall scrapes. So I'm, again, let's see. 2, 0, 2, 4, 1 out of 12, 1 out of 13, and that was it. So, you know what? Tonight worked out pretty nicely.
Hard to have off tracks when you have concrete walls the entire way.
Yeah, right, but that's a 2x if you hit it hard enough, at least. If you really hit it hard, you got a nice 4x and a meatball probably. Granted, I didn't really see too many incidents on track tonight. People were pretty
good.
The biggest fear I had was that pit road exit. And you see somebody fly out of the pit. Yeah, you see somebody flying out of the pits, and that'll scare the crap out of you if you're not expecting that and you're not paying close to your...
You're not even coming out parallel to each other. You're almost perpendicular.
You're completely perpendicular. So I said before the race, I said, this is not a formal rule, but just as a courtesy, if you're exiting the pits, can you either give the chat exiting, pit out, or jump on the radio and say, I'm exiting the pits, just to...
I think everybody did a pretty good job watching their relative.
Well, and people were really good, at least on the chat part. I watched a lot of chat messages coming in, pit out, pit out, pit out, pit out. A couple people used the radio. I don't think we had a single issue on pit exits.
That's that I know of.
So I'm like, you know what? Great job. Great job, everybody. Great job. But, right now, I mean, it sucks that post-race penalties knocked a couple people out of the podium spots. Actually changed the winner, really.
And one thing to clarify on it, and we did the digging on it too, if, like, and this is exactly what happened, and it's the example that they use. You're involved in a little bump and you get a 0x. But one car, like, immediately after goes and gets hit by another car or causes something else and goes 4x there. That 4x continues on into the other car of the initial contact.
I honestly didn't know that. And John Miles actually was the one. He's like, he goes, "You guys don't run Draft Masters very much." Like, no, I don't, John, because I'm not a glutton for pain.
No, I've not run any Draft Masters yet.
He's like, yeah. He goes, "You run Draft Masters, you see that all the time, where you got like the little 0x bump, but then you bump, this person spins, takes out half the field. Guess what? That other person who was clear, you got a 4x too." So it's like, it sucks. The old Atlanta, hasn't had development on it done in several years since the new Atlanta was configured. So some of the net code things are probably worse. There's some other issues with contact, and it's worn out. Multiple racing grooves. People were aggressive. We're first time in the truck in almost a year. So it was just kind of the perfect storm.
Yep.
It was the perfect storm of crap. And I felt sick to my stomach that we had post-race penalties completely changed the podium. But I mean, that was the rules that the committee put out. And as this league grows and as the styles change and it gets more competitive, if this isn't working, then guess what? We'll drop it. I don't care. Like, you know how many rule changes we made?
I was talking to a driver actually before this about, you look back and the league has changed so much, and things we've done, we don't anymore.
Like, our bottom split race is a shorter version of the original Wednesday Night Dash. It was just green flag, run to run. Then we put the stage break in the middle. Then we're like, okay, stage break's not working anymore. We need to put cautions in here. And it's caused some eye pacing at some tracks, but I think it was the right move.
And even as of the recording here, I forwarded a proposal to the committee.
We'll see what they say. They'll vote on it. Maybe we have a rule change.
But we're going to keep it changing. It's changed up a ton, and we got to keep up with it.
Like, last week at Atlanta was not the first time we had a controversial ending where people were upset post-race. And it won't be the last. And it's unreasonable to expect otherwise. And you know what? I can't make everybody happy all the time.
There's about 20 different options that we could do, and each one is going to have its own fault. We're trying.
That was also a big reason why we changed the competition committee to have a team lead sit on the committee. Each team's lead sits on the committee, and then you and I are kind of oversight for it. And one, it creates ownership, and two, it's like, this is the peers. This is not just some ruling class, somebody hammering their fist down and saying, "This is how it's going to be. This is my league." It's like, we all own this.
I mean, I do that in Indy racing, but
yeah, you, Mr. Shady Phantom Caution.
No, everybody has a say, and if they have things that they want to see, they can toss it out there and it's a discussion.
Right, you have representation. You know what? We have up to 2 independent spots. I mean, most everybody's on a team now, but we have 2 independent spots that nobody has volunteered for. So it's like, we can still take 2 more people on this committee. And you know what? We'll see. You know what? And we're gonna do. Well, that's what we'll do. We're gonna keep evolving this to try to keep it as good as possible. We're using a flawed system with a lot of variables here. And ultimately, in the end, we're just trying to have some fun at night and put on a good show for an audience.
I
And I
think
think
for
we
the
do.
most part we've done that.
We think we do a pretty solid job of that. And we'll keep we'll keep reviving it. I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is. We're going to keep evolving and keep this thing going. I mean, we're on season 15 of this. We've been over 4 years now.
Will we ever find a perfect setup? Probably not. But do people in NASCAR, IndyCar get frustrated with results at the end of the day? All the
Do
time.
you have Will Power turning around going, He's like, I hate that. That's going to be my legacy.
It's racing. It's gonna happen.
I mean, it wasn't all that long ago that Ross was it? Yeah, Ross Chastain punched Noah Gragson in the face, wasn't it?
Yeah, a couple of seasons ago.
Still kind of wild. We don't really see these like crew fights anymore. That just kind of stopped.
NASCAR took the fun out of it. Like the NFL when they were the no fun league. You scored a touchdown. Do not do anything with the ball except hand it politely with a bow to the official. Otherwise, we will flag you and kick you out of the game.
The the other rule about college football that drove me nuts is that if a player was running down the field and started taunting or something like that or celebrating before they entered the end zone, the referees had the right to blow a dead ball foul at where they started it and stop, like, even though like they're running untouched down the field, if they started like celebrating at the 30-yard line, dead ball foul, ball goes back to the 30-yard line and another like 15-yard penalty. I'm just like, come on.
What would have been maybe 2004? Either 2004, 2005 season. One of my favorite unsportsmanlike conduct penalties was called. It was Purdue playing at Notre Dame.
Taylor Stubblefield.
Yep.
80 yards of
Running it
this.
back to the house with the train horn. You know
It's just,
exactly which play that was.
he threw it, yeah. Kyle Orton threw it out of the end zone, a missed tackle, 80 yards untouched. And
Yeah, it
about
was fun
65
being like
yards of
the
this.
one Purdue fan at Notre Dame Stadium.
You were there for that?
I was at that game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Remember when
the swim team, we swam up at Notre Dame on Friday night. We had a dual meet and then a relay meet right after, and we stayed, and then we got to go to the Purdue Notre Dame football game.
the moment you said your favorite excessive celebration penalty, I'm like, he's gonna say, I'm like, I'm not gonna say it just yet. And I know he's gonna say Taylor Stubblefield.
Yep.
I just know it.
When is that Notre Dame Stadium? It's got to be.
That was hilarious. That was yes, that is still one of my all-time favorite moments.
Maybe one of the best celebrations is watching Drew Brees lift the Oaken bucket at IU.
I mean, we're kind of down in the dumps right now in the Purdue football world. I don't want to talk about it. That's
You got to go back to the glory days.
yeah. I mean, the good news is IU has to win like 30 straight years to catch Purdue and win, so or something crazy
Yeah.
So you know what? Whatever. Anyway, Talladega. Before we wrap here today, so somebody rode the Dente.
Yeah, need to get some chilies for dinner now.
I think I'm gonna actually have Chili's for dinner tomorrow night. I have this thing going where I've yet to do this, but I go to Chili's quite often, and it's like, did Carson Hocevar motivate that? Not really. I've always liked Chili's. Actually, if anything, The Office motivated me to eat at Chili's.
You get their
more.
baby back ribs with barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce. So I was actually gonna pull up my Chili's order history because a lot of times we get it to go because my kids cannot behave in restaurants, so we get it to go, eat at home. And so I was going to actually look up when I had Chili's and how Carson Hocevar did after I eat Chili's. But I did not have Chili's last week, and he won.
So maybe you can't have chilies.
What'd you think of his celebration?
That reminded me of Dale Earnhardt cleaning oil off
Yeah,
of his
that's
windshield.
what they were saying. That's exactly what they were saying. He's
Last time you
climbing
see a
out.
driver hanging out the window.
And the only reason that worked is because he has even longer stork legs than I do.
I mean, he made the most of it. I like it.
He, he was so pumped, like that you could just see the joy, like the pure joy of that win.
When we called
And
it
it's
before the season started, we said he's going to win this year.
wasn't that on your bingo card?
I need to go back and update it. There hasn't really been anything like crazy,
I mean
crazy.
that should go on the bingo card. I think that's bingo card worthy.
Hocevar on to the bingo card.
Yeah, Hocevar wins a race. I mean, we knew it would probably happen this year, but
The other one I
he
need to put on there is F1 canceling 2 races.
the um the other big thing was the massive wreck. What was the final count on that? Was it
What did
26
you say?
cars?
26? Hey, go figure. It happened because of bad pushing involving a Toyota.
Well, it wasn't Toyota who pushed. Wasn't it Ross who pushed Bubba?
Well, you can't push or be pushed by Toyota.
Yeah, I guess that's true too.
As you try to push them and they get unsettled.
Very unsettled.
Like, let's build a car that's pointed bumper and pointed nose and expect it to get pushed.
Oh, that was. Well,
If
yeah, I think
I'm
only like 4 cars cleanly made it through.
if I'm driving Talladega, Daytona, or Atlanta, I'm telling my spotter, like, if you see a Toyota in front or behind me, get me away from it.
Yes, I am
I do
changing
not
lane.
want to be close to it. I will go to the back to avoid a Toyota.
But that celebration where he's climbing out and then he almost pins himself against the wall. And then in the press conference asked about it, and then he goes to the new NASCAR CEO Steve O'Donnell, and he's like, Steve, and you hear, I'm good with it. He's like, all right.
Funny, I was actually on TikTok earlier today, and Carson Hocevar was live.
Carson, he posted last Thursdays, and he just said, I don't care, I'm winning this weekend.
He did.
He did.
Good for
And
him.
with the Chili's car. It's funny, people talk about NASCAR sponsorship and the influence of NASCAR sponsorship over the years, and somebody made a comment about how like Chili's is pretty confident that Carson Hocevar is driving up sales, which is like ultimately that's the goal. You put your logo on a car, you want people to go use your product, or you go to the restaurant or
Pay that
whatever.
much money, you want to see that much money come back and more.
Yeah, and it's funny too. Like people on social media, it was on Threads today. They were talking about that, and somebody started. People started commenting, and like, you know what? I use Tide because of Ricky Rudd. I drink Pepsi because of Jeff Gordon.
No, Hocevar's one, like, you have Denny and some of those guys like doing podcasts and stuff, but Hocevar's out there going live on
Oh yeah,
TikTok,
he's a man of the
engaging with
people.
people.
He's a man of the people.
He's all over social media.
He's got the pulse of Gen Z, right? Which NASCAR sorely lacks right now.
Hey, he's
Um,
doing it right.
I'm just kind of looking up at some of my older cars, and I'm like, are any sponsors where I was influenced? And like, QVC, nope. Sorry, Jeff Bodine. Kmart, can't really do anything about that anymore. Jeremy Mayfield. I mean, I did work at Circuit City because of the Circuit City car. I had a choice of Circuit City or Best Buy. I went to Circuit City because I liked the Circuit City car in the late '90s. I mean, granted, the place never existed. I worked there for like 14 months before they closed their store.
Yeah.
I do have a Ricky Rudd Tide car. Got Yeah, and people are like, yeah, I shop at Lowe's because of Jimmy Johnson. That's like people are loyal to brands. They see their favorite driver and they're shopping at those places. They're buying at that. Bill Elliott with McDonald's all those years.
Mhm.
I looked up at one of the cars. I'm like, I was almost gonna make a joke, but involves Mark Martin and a certain sponsor.
Nah, the B one.
Yes. Somebody asked Mark Martin about being sponsored by Viagra, and he's like, you know what? He goes, one. He goes, I made so much money through that sponsorship. Like, it was great. But he goes, the other thing that doesn't get talked about is that Viagra actually brought out like a trailer to like every race for those like 2 years or whatever it was. And that did like health screening, like prostate exams and at the racetrack and stuff. And he said that like I don't even know off this about how a lot of people went in there, a lot of men went in
You're
and had a
targeting the right area.
yeah. And it's like they're having a getting their prostate examined at a NASCAR track seems kind of crazy, but it's just like you wonder how many lives that saved.
Yeah. It is NASCAR.
It is funny though. You look around at the track and some of the displays that they have, and it's like, hey, are you over 50? Like Kroger has like displays out there. It's like, are you over 50? Get your shingles vaccine before you go up to the race, and they have
If
like
they
a
were like, hey, you
station
get
there.
free diecast if you do this. All right.
I mean, I'm a sucker for free stuff. I spun the wheel. Cheddar's, they sponsored Kyle Busch, and we spun a wheel, and I got a free appetizer at Cheddar's, and we got one down the street from us. I like Cheddar. Cheddar's is good.
If you have an option to get free stuff, I'm probably doing it.
I mean, I was gonna probably go to Cheddar's at some point anyway, but I'm
This
like,
is
this
bad. I've
motivated
been.
me to go faster. Like I'm out there, and I went out like the next week. I like Cheddar's. It's a good place.
It's been at least 7, 8 years since I've been there. It's been a while.
They actually on the kids when they serve the kids meal. I mean, I haven't been in a while, but when the last time I was at Cheddar's, when my kids got their kids meal, they give them the serving bowl, and the paper inside was actually a paper with Kyle Busch's Cheddar's car on it. I'm like, I want a kids meal. But yeah, it's just the sponsors. Like, you look at some of the sponsors today, and you're like, what? Who? It's like
What are these?
a lot of business to business type stuff. Like you watch a golf tournament, and they're sponsored by Workday, and like I have no say. Like, I don't work for a large company. I'm not using Workday. But it's just like you don't see that a lot of
That's
direct
what I
retail brands
use.
anymore. You use Workday.
I do.
Um, but you don't see a lot of those retail brands anymore. Like Chili's is kind of I mean, you see Bass Pro Shops is out there. They've been very loyal in the sport. Um,
Red Bull's coming back. Monster's been around for a little bit.
yeah, I mean, WeatherTech is a retail, but you don't see it. Like, I'm looking over, you don't see Kellogg's, you don't see Cartoon Network, you don't see Spam anymore.
The
Like Lowe's
spam
and
car.
Home. Yeah, I have a Spam car.
See, that was
I
number
think
91, wasn't it?
it is the number 90. You were absolutely correct. Now, can you remember who it was? And I think I remember. I have to look.
Right. Robert Presley at one point.
Not on the car I have. I thought that's right.
Oh, jeez. Who drove that one? Can I get the initials?
MW, and it's not the MW you're thinking of.
Yeah, not Michael Waltrip.
No.
Mike Wallace.
Yes.
Jeez.
The lesser known brother of Rusty and Kenny, for that matter.
Why I can't even come up with that? It's not right. Let's see.
Oh,
Where's
yeah, we probably
NASCAR
should.
going next? They're Texas too, aren't they?
Yeah, we're going to tech. Well, we try to balance our either Indy or Wednesday night dash schedules with the real races as much as we can without being repetitive.
Yeah.
So we got a Texas race coming up, and it helps. Like, there's interest in it. The searches go up. So our races tend to have more viewership when we are aligned with NASCAR. And,
And
like,
that's why we're running Indy in May.
we're not going to follow a NASCAR schedule. We're not going to do anything like that. But where we can line up with the in real life race, we will.
If
Or at
that
least the
track comes up close or during the time that our season runs, we'll probably get it pretty close. But if we're not going to run that track, we're not going to run that track.
Nope. Oh.
And it's May, so IndyCar is getting ramped up. We got the Grand Prix and then qualifying.
And Bottom Split finishes its season a week before the Coca-Cola 600, which
is at Charlotte.
Charlotte. So we line that up.
We got what? Iowa and Charlotte left.
Yeah. Coming up next Monday. I don't know if I actually if that was intentional or not. I don't recall. I just thought Charlotte Under the Lights would be a good finale, and that was kind of my thought.
That'd be fun.
Charlotte Under the Lights. Who is NASCAR's golden boy according to Google?
That could be multiple people right now.
Yeah,
I think one of three.
It's a Hall of Famer who you may not remember the name. You're not going to think of him.
No, drivers?
Well, the original NASCAR golden boy was Fred Lorenzen. The name, oh yeah. Movie star looks, smooth driving style, and success. Competed from 1956 to 1972 and won the 1965 Daytona 500. Often running a part-time schedule. Who do you think AI thinks is the golden boy now? Of active full-time drivers.
So, I'm going to put three names out there. Larson, Hamlin, or Hocevar.
Yeah, you got it, Larson.
The other one I would consider tossing in there is Reddick.
He's working his way up there, isn't he?
Yeah. NASCAR gets sued. This team now has won everything.
The best part of when Reddick beat Hamlin at Kansas the other week, and Denny was upset at Cody Ware, which that sucked, but I don't fully put that on him.
Even Hamlin acknowledged how old the tires was, and he put it on the team for leaving him out there that long.
Yeah, they he wasn't racing anybody. He was in last. So Hamlin's upset giving his interview, and Jordan walks by and is choking. And you can see Denny was not happy whatsoever.
No, he lost a win. His car won.
He still wants to win. I mean, he's, it's great. Denny, the owner, winning, great. But he wants to be Denny, the driver, winning. And there's no doubt about that. So, Texas this weekend. We got Indy stuff coming up. We got the Indy Grand Prix. We got testing coming up, practice. See some drivers out there we haven't seen all season. Formula One at Miami, Texas. Got a busy weekend.
Indy 500 fans, please take a look at the link in the bio down below here. Fill that out. I really want to get the project moving. And
you know somebody that knows how to publish books.
Yes, a little bit. Thank you, Andy, for sharing it as well.
He's filled out Did he fill out the survey? Okay, so he's officially doing better than he officially is doing better than me because I am a slacker apparently.
Then
I
if you're
swear I
listening
feel
to
that.
this in the morning, pay attention to some social medias later. Got a surprise coming.
I don't even know what
DJ
he's
doesn't
talking
even know
about.
this one.
No, I have no idea what he's talking about.
You will be finding out on Friday as well.
Well, I guess I have to wait and see. All right. So again, thank you for tuning in. We may have some down weeks like last week, but we'll try to minimize those and keep on that regular schedule. Kids are getting older; it's tougher to record, but we are committed to keeping this going.
Yeah,
So
I'll double check it, but I'll make sure I get a ridiculous graphic to DJ that we can toss up when we have our off
it,
weeks.
side note, you know what? Our show, well, I mean, not in listens, but we actually did better in reach as far as like reaching more of an audience last week. We beat Stacking Pennies.
Oh
Yes, we beat
man.
Corey LaJoy's podcast. We were actually higher than him briefly. Like, yeah, we
Hey,
take
we're
that,
ranked
Dale
number
Jr.
182 in Ghana, so listening in
Yes,
there,
that's
thank
right.
you.
We are the 182nd most popular podcast in the country of Ghana in Africa. So thank you to the people of Ghana who are tuning in and listening to us. I saw that stat and I was like, what?
Hey, shout out to you guys.
Shout out to Ghana. We were talking about the listens we're getting in Singapore, but apparently our number one. Remember that Full House episode where Jesse's band, they called him and told him his song was number one, but it was like number one in Japan?
Yeah.
And like he couldn't even chart in the U.S., but he's number one, the most popular song in Japan, and went over to Japan to perform. Well, shout out to the people of Ghana for listening to this show because
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I don't know why we trend so well in Ghana, but thank you. Should add that to the tagline. One of the most popular podcasts in Ghana.
I appreciate everybody who tunes in every week. Thank you guys. It does mean a lot to us.
Yes.
Listen to us babble and ramble and make idiots of ourselves.
Make idiots of ourselves, get our wives mad at us. It's worth it.
Yes, it is.
I've got a dog pacing around behind me. It's the sign to wrap it. So, again, thank you for tuning in. Go to fracingonline.com. We'll be announcing our giveaway, which I don't have anything picked out yet. Got to do that.
Yeah, it's coming up.
We got to announce that. So, our giveaway in June will be announced here soon. Once I find something, I'll have to shop and send you some links. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
fracingonline.com and fracingonline on social media. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll hopefully see you next week.
Check stuff out later today. Take care.